called him Trip? Because he was a long-distance truck driver, and he would murder prostitute.
Who shot your homeboy? A nigga with a diaper on, got on the city, girls beating, got a cipher on. Yeah, your girl said she dickin' with the baby right or wrong. Just gave me head in the rental car while the lights was on. You know me, I be chillin' and coolin'. Know I'm the shit with the music. Since you in love with computers, go look my name up on Google and please don't turn to no groupie. Other niggas be goofy, might as well get some popcorn. We finna make this a movie. Somewhere laid up with a stallion, letting them haters hate. Eating jumbo shrimp with the steak off of a paper plate. Ballin' on them like Michael Jordan. Back in 88, got my dick sucked before my flight, it almost made me late. I'm in a different bracket than rappers, these niggas can't relate. Don't make me get to slapping these rappers, give them a change of face. Made so many racks up a trappers, say I was slanging weight. Put the weed down and start eating, they say I'm gaining weight. Who shot you? That little nigga with the pamper, baby. With 20 pounds of Cali weed inside the hamper, baby. The girl said she throw the I put up with the ball fade like a camper. Who shot you? That little nigga be on Instagram. Do what the fuck he wanna do like he don't give a damn. Just got some head outside the show inside the Sprinter van. They say I'm a fool cause I'm cool and smooth as a ceiling fan. You need to get your boss, I ain't trying to talk to no middleman. I'm talking just to talk, nothing personal, I'm a businessman.
Ben, how many times?
Well, I have a confession, okay? In 2009, I begged and pleaded with you that you would buy me this game. And it took me 3 months, okay? 3 months. And on one condition, you bought me this game. Do you know what it was? You do? You remember? At the beginning of the game, when you open it for the first time, it gives you an option whether or not you want to play this mission because it is so violent. I was 13 years old at this time, and I promised you that I would not play this. And today, I confess to you that I played this game, that I played this mission. And I'm sorry. And now we have to watch it. In 2009, I begged and pleaded with you.
We're one decision away from death, Mr. Shelby.
So stop focus, man. Your name is Irene O'Donnell. You have a son in the Sherrywood Road School in Harborne. He has arms on his legs. His name is Sean. He comes last in every race. Poor boy.
Secure the area. The bomb's protected.
You know what I mean?
We're one decision away from death, Mr. Shelby.
Bomb location compromised. Plan accordingly. Down to 5 seconds. Op 4 has loaded. Operator remaining. Op 4 remaining.
Oh, bastard.
All friendlies were eliminated.
God damn.
Protect the bombs.
Still not enough for you? Don't just watch others play. Your turn could be next. Open TikTok, watch insane football skills, join fun challenges, and create your own football moments.
What is up, my friends? We are back with a late night news roundup, and unfortunately, we're going to kick off with a story that is another dagger to the hearts of Liverpool fans looking for a young, pacey winger to be brought in, as Newcastle have agreed to deal with one of Liverpool's rumour targets. We're also going to be talking about a new name that's come into the conversation from the Premier League. We'll have a little few updates as well on other moves that could happen, talking about Mateus Mane in this video as well. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to know your thoughts, so feel free to let me know in the comment section. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow I will be back for another live stream at 9 PM. I hope you can join me for it, but until then, as I always say, let's get cracking with the news. So, unfortunately, as we were streaming this evening, news started to filter through about Newcastle agreeing a deal for a player that a lot of Liverpool fans have been hoping we would sign, and that is, of course, Bouzamana Touré of Hoffenheim. David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, and many other journalists have posted, and David Ornstein said Newcastle reached agreement with Hoffenheim to sign Bouzamana Touré. The 20-year-old Ivory Coast international granted permission to travel to Tyneside for a medical and become their second signing of the summer. Now, just when you thought Manchester City were finished splashing around the cash in midfield, apparently not. This report here from Matteo Moretto said that Eduardo Camavinga has been offered to Manchester City, and City are now weighing up the potential move for the Real Madrid midfielder. Now, I don't know if that happens or not, but they've already got the deal agreed for Elliot Anderson. That's going to be an impressive signing. Then they're looking to bring in another midfielder as well. We've seen Newcastle agree a deal for Mateus Fernandes and pushing to sign Sandro Tonali. Arsenal pushing to try and get Boadi or Bruno Guimaraes. They're also looking at Barcola or Morgan Rogers. We need to get going in this summer transfer market. Now, one name that Anfield Sector said that Liverpool have shown an interest in, and is somebody we spoke about way back in January, is Kevin from Fulham. Now, we're not saying categorically, or I think they're not saying categorically, that this is the option that Liverpool are going to go to, but there is credibility to the fact that we have looked at this guy for a while. Now, let's take a look through his career and see where he's played, how many minutes, how many goals, and what his favourite position is. Off the left is the answer, by the way, and again, that could be a great bit of business to give us other options if indeed we look to move for him, or is it going to hinder the progression of Rio? But anyway, this is his career to this point. Playing for Fulham right now, he's played 31 games, 3 goals and 3 assists. Before that was Shakhtar Donetsk. One of the seasons there, 35 games, 9 goals, 3 assists. Palmeiras before that. And let's be honest, we love a Brazilian at Liverpool. During a season with regards to injuries and stuff like that, it's been pretty good, to be fair. 25-26, he had a metatarsal bruise which kept him out for 75 days. But other than that, he looks pretty bulletproof with injury. Now, where does he play? Well, predominantly off the left-hand side. He has played most of his games as a left winger, playing 93 games there, scoring 23 goals with 15 assists. As a right winger, he's played 5 games, no goals, no assists. As a centre forward, 4 games with 1 goal, and as a left midfielder, 1 game with 1 goal. So, does it mean we couldn't move somebody across to the right hand side? I personally am getting a bit fed up of inverted wingers, so keep an eye on that name. I'm going to do a bit more digging on it over the next few days to see if there's truth to Liverpool maybe looking to progress to an offer to Fulham, but it is certainly a credible name. It is one that Liverpool have been looking at since at least January in my knowledge anyway, but not one that I thought was possible this summer. So, news came from Fabrizio Romano that Jan Sommer has left Inter Milan as a free agent and is expected to open door to a new chapter. Now that had one Liverpool fan saying, send Georgi Mamardashvili out on loan and let him share the minutes with Alisson. I don't know. What do we say on this one? Jan Sommer coming in? I don't know. I want to give Georgie an opportunity personally to get into competition with Alisson for games, but this has to be a big season for Georgie as well if he is going to show us that he is able to become the new number 1 when Alisson moves on. Now, this report from TalkSport about former Liverpool coach Jurgen Klopp said that Jurgen Klopp is now the leading candidate to replace Julian Nagelsmann as the German national team manager. Nagelsmann's prepared to continue after the World Cup exit, but the German national team board are looking to sack him apparently. And I've seen that Jurgen Klopp has a plan and a vision to not just come in and help the national team, but to build a structure in German football right from the underage level all the way up that he thinks is lacking. So keep your eye on that situation. It's always felt like the one that if Jurgen was going to be tempted back into football, it was with the German national team. Anfield Watch again to credit them for their exclusive early said Liverpool have been monitoring Fulham winger Kevin, 23 years of age, to see how he adapts to the Premier League. And they aren't wrong, we have been keeping an eye on him. Another young name that will come into the mix today, and has been one that we've spoken about on the channel before, is Wolves' Matheus Mane. This piece here said that Liverpool could be on a collision course with Manchester United for the signature of Wolves youngster Matheus Mane. The 18-year-old enjoyed some breakthrough moments with Wolves en route to the club being relegated down to the Championship this season. German website Football Daten has reported that the Reds are in the hunt for Mane, who is valued at about £35 million. Another young winger may not align with Liverpool's team this summer, however, with Rio Engamoa already emerging out wide. However, there may be room for another project player after Mane has played flashes of brilliance from last term. Look, he's a very good player, but I honestly think his career will be best served staying at Wolves for another season, because I don't think he's ready to commit just yet. So that's where we're at with a lot of the transfer talk with regards to incomings, folks. Again, talking about players who you should be keeping an eye out for. Chema, the youngster we talked about from Stuttgart, the defensive midfielder, definitely a name worth keeping eyes on. What's going to happen with the likes of Stefan Bajcetic? Well, there was some rumours that Middlesbrough were interested in him. Jack Lusby then said that he didn't think that interest was as on the money as was being reported, but again, Stefan has 1 year to go on his Liverpool deal, so whatever happens, it will either be a loan with a new contract beforehand or perhaps a sale. Curtis Jones, it looks like he isn't that interested in the proposed move to Nottingham Forest, at least according to reports, but Inter Milan are still interested in him, but aren't going to pay the money that it would take. There was also a report tonight that said you could rule out Federico Chiesa to Como because they don't think there's really value in the package with the wages that he's on, rumoured to be about £150,000 a week, so that could rule them out of that one. So what do we do with him? Well, find somewhere for him to go has got to be the answer. I know a lot of Liverpool fans want us to keep Chiesa, but look, realistically, he's not going to get back to the Chiesa that we'd hoped. It's been 2 years down the line and Liverpool have to look to the future. But here's my pitch to you guys. We don't have to sign superstars in this window. I'm not sitting here saying it has to be a Michael Elise or has to be somebody of that ilk, but we do have to make sure that everything we need to attend to is done. We need another winger. Then let's see what happens with Cody Gakpo. If he goes, we need one more there. At right back, that's an area I think we can save some money in. Somebody like Ratchet would be a very credible option. Another name we spoke about the other day is Jules Koundé, somebody who's been linked for the move away from Barcelona and can operate at right back and right centre back. Could be another option. On the left side, nobody will ever convince me we should be letting Costas run down his deal and go for free in a year. I think we should be selling him and looking to get another option on the left side. And then in midfield, Andreas Chema, the lad that we're talking about, one name, Buadi. Some people on tonight's stream are trying to say that his representatives have been to the AXA, the conversations there are maybe progressing along. I hope so. That would be brilliant. I'd love to wake up in the next day or two and see that Liverpool have won the race for Buadi's signature, but I don't have that information personally as much as I will try to find out for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much where we're at for now. But I want to know in the comments what you guys think Liverpool need to do. And are you concerned with how slowly this window has started for us? We got Victor Munoz in, really good deal, really quickly, came out of nowhere, very good value as well. But we need to move quickly. Before we know it, pre-season will be upon us, and we want to give Andoni Iraola every opportunity to succeed this season. So it's over to you guys now. I'll see you tomorrow. Connor will be here in the morning. I'll be here then early evening, and it'll be 9 p.m. tomorrow for the late night agenda. Thank you so much again.
Get £30 in free bets when you bet £10. eBay online shopping and selling. No, it is not a bad dream. It is real. Liverpool have been linked with Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto in the big 2026. Pedro Neto and Savinho are the players Liverpool have been linked with this morning in an attacking sense. What a time to be alive. What a time. I love football, me. I really love football, especially transfers. I love transfers. I love when we're linked with Pedro Neto. My God. Not to say it's going to happen, but is that the level we're at? Like, it was Yan Diamande, then it was Bradley Barcola, and now it's Pedro Neto, of all players. Anyway, welcome along to Anfield Agenda. My name is Connor, and I'm here to go through all the latest Liverpool news. As like I've said, Pedro Neto and Savinho are now on the radar, apparently. We've had links with Jules Koundé this morning, as well as a few bits around Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, and a few other bits and pieces as well. Before we get into it, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, really helps us out. We're on the way to 500,000. We're trying to get there at some point. Help us on our journey. Hit the subscribe button. Now, let's get into the news then. So, this coming from our friends at Anfield Index and Dave Davis, who said that Liverpool seem to be back in bed with George Mendes, whose client is Pedro Neto. He's very distinct, Neto, so I'm trying to be positive about this. He's a carrier, his passing is good, he's a crosser. The cross expected threat, 95th percentile. I was saying that to the lads down the pub the other night. The cross expected threat, that's what all football's all about, isn't it? The cross value added, 93rd percentile. He also claimed Neto himself will be keen on a move to Anfield, adding, our info is getting this stood up today. Neto would jump at this. They nearly did him when he was at Wolves. Now, I had a quick look at Pedro Neto's stats to see, like, maybe I'm just being a bit harsh here, maybe I'm just thinking, like, maybe he's better than we think, really, but it's not great reading. So he played 52 games last season. In the league, he had 34 games, 5 goals and 6 assists in about 2,500 minutes, and he had 10 goals all season, 3 of those coming in the one game against Hull City. So, you know what I mean, like, is this the level? Like, and it's coming from Chelsea as well, so you know well it's not going to be cheap if it did happen. Look, I'm sure he'd come in and do an alright job, but again, like, the level of expectancy versus the level of reality here, like, when you're seeing players like Pedro Neto, Savinho, we'll move on to in a second, Yankuba Minte, Saeed El Malal, these kind of players, like, is that the level we're really at? And, like, I understand there's probably some hypocrisy in saying that we want Liverpool to find these players before they blow up and get to the top level and we have to spend huge money on them, but it's just grim reading, isn't it? It really is grim seeing these stats. Looking at Pedro Neto's injury record, he had a few muscle injuries and a few injury problems over the years, but last season he only missed, I think, 4 games for Chelsea and 2 games for Portugal, so not a bad season for him in terms of robustness. Like I said, he played 52 games there, so obviously he is Premier League proven, I suppose. I'm trying to think of any positives here. Outside of that, look, it is what it is. It's Pedro Neto at the end of the day, isn't it? Dave Davis also mentioned that Liverpool have made inquiries about Savinho at Manchester City. I know Spurs were heavily linked with him last summer. I haven't seen too much about him this year, to be fair. But looking at his stats from this season, 24 games in the league, 1 goal, 2 assists. 1 goal, 2 assists. These are the players we're being linked with to replace Mohamed Salah. Oh God, I'm sick of it already. Like, how is it only July and we're still talking about players like this? 36 games in all competitions last season for Savinho. 4 goals, 3 assists. That's the level we're at here, so I was going to move on before we get too depressed. Jules Koundé, so this coming from Mark Bruce of Caught Offside, who said, Liverpool are keeping an eye on developments regarding the situation of Jules Koundé at Barcelona, who are surprisingly open to sanctioning his exit this summer. He's deemed expendable in Catalonia and has been made available on the market for £55 million. Now, predominantly a right back, he can slot in at centre back as well. French international, he's been doing well at the World Cup as well, which we'll talk about in a second. So it's a player that could make sense. But that is exactly the profile of player we are looking for, apparently. Like someone who can play as a centre back and a right back, give us a few options. Obviously the long-term future of Conor Bradley is up in the air, and the whole thing with Jeremy Frimpong, is he a winger, is he a right back? So I would welcome him in. I think it would be a good signing. I don't think he's too old either. Let me actually double check how old he is. So he's 27, going 28 in November, so like not too kind of in his prime at the minute. So maybe Liverpool go for it, maybe they don't. Like, I think it's not really the type of sign we would generally make, but like I don't think we'd be afraid to spend about 50-55 million on a player if we really thought he was the profile player we need. So one to keep an eye on. It has gone quiet on him.
No bad. I actually wasn't playing bad with Nomad earlier, but not doing the greatest right now. Hi, Neil.
Recently, but this name has come back up again this morning. And a bit around Jules Koundé then. So this is from Barca Universal on Instagram, who said, we need to talk about Jules Koundé. After an up and down season with Barca, he has been solid at the World Cup. He started all 4 matches. So versus Senegal, he had 5 duels won, 3 tackles and 8 defensive contributions. Versus Iraq, he had 100% of ground duels won and 4 defensive contributions. Versus Norway, 7 defensive contributions, 5 out of 5 ground duels won, 3 tackles, 6 recoveries. And versus Sweden in the round of 32, he had 4 defensive contributions, 6 duels won and 3 recoveries. So as that Barcelona fan account said there, he had an up and down season, but he has been very, very solid for France in the World Cup. So does that affect the price too much? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. One to keep an eye on, not saying he will come in the door, but definitely one to keep an eye on because he would fit the profile. And he is a player who has been linked to us for a long time now. Moving on then to a report from the Liverpool Echo, who said Curtis Jones is increasingly likely to remain at Liverpool this summer. Nottingham Forest are interested in the England midfielder, but Jones is reluctant to make the move. Inter Milan have also been linked, although they are unwilling to meet Liverpool's valuation. As things stand, a summer exit appears unlikely. Now, this is music to my ears, I must say. I really like Curtis Jones. I think he's vastly underrated. I think people don't really appreciate what he adds to the squad. I think he's the perfect level of player that not quite good enough to be like dismantling the first 11, but a very, very, very good option off the bench and a player good enough to step into the starting 11 when required as well. So I think it'd be great if we could keep him. Of course, he's homegrown, all that stuff as well.
Oh, hello. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Don't worry, even with one loss, England still has a very good chance of reaching the knockout stage if they finish third in the group.
I did miss some of
We could keep him. Of course, he's homegrown, all that stuff as well.
Okay, no.
And like
Not
some
bad.
talk was being thrown around from like Inter Milan were wanting him for like what 15, 20 million pounds. I think I'd just rather keep him in that instance. Like fair enough, he has 1 year left on his deal. I would rather that we get that extended soon or sell him, I suppose. Like if we get like 40 million for him, I think I'd say look fair enough, like 1 year left on his deal. But in the other instance, I think I'd rather just keep him ultimately. So good news on that front for me that he is staying. Nottingham Forest do seem to be sniffing around him with Oliver Glasner now, of course, at Nottingham Forest, but I don't see Curtis Jones being interested in that. Like there was talk he wants to go to Inter Milan to kind of follow in the footsteps of Scott McTominay, move over to a league, make a big step up, and become appreciated, I suppose, and become a regular starter. So remains to be seen, like whether he would want to sign a new deal at Liverpool. Like will he want guarantees over play time? That kind of stuff will be a factor. But in the meantime, in the short term, I'm glad he's staying. Ultimately, like I think the less business we have to do, as well as him being a very good footballer in my eyes, that's good news for me. So moving on then to Harvey Elliott, another player whose future is up in the air or in doubt really. This from The Athletic, who said Harvey Elliott will assess his options closer to the start of the campaign, with a decision yet to be made on whether or not he remains at Liverpool for the 26-27 season. Tricky to know what to do with Harvey Elliott because like I think he's probably good enough to be part of the squad. Like he could be a decent option off the right as a backup. He can play midfield obviously as well. And the fact that he didn't really play at all last year, like his value will have sunk. And even the 35 million we had agreed with Villa, I think was a little bit low for the level of talent and quality that he does have, given the fact that he's homegrown as well and Premier League proven. I think like if you were to try sell him this summer, you're probably looking at less than 35 million, like I said, due to the fact he's barely played all year. So in my eyes, I would rather keep him. Like, fair enough if Andoni Iraola doesn't seem fitting into the plan. Maybe Harvey Elliott wants to go somewhere he's guaranteed game time as well. I could understand that. Like, I'd be happy to keep him. I'd be happy to sell him if we get a decent fee is where I'm at. Like, I think if we're offered like 20 million, I don't want it. But if we're offered like maybe somewhere around the Aston Villa 35 million, then maybe Liverpool do cash in. But I would like to see him given a chance in pre-season at least, so we can have a chance to look at him, see what kind of level of fitness he's at, see what match sharpness he's at, and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully he gets a chance, but very much up in the air whether he'll be here next season or not. Moving on then to Florence Malouda, speaking about Bradley Barcola, and he said he would be a perfect fit for any Premier League side. Choosing his next destination is about whether he's ready to take a leadership role, because that's what will be expected from him. He could fit in any Premier League team. He's a very talented young player. Lighting up the World Cup, of course. Very good season with PSG, of course, winning the Champions League as well. But, as we've said a few times, PSG are making a lot of moves in terms of incomings, like Andy Amanda's coming in. There's talk of Magnus Akliuch. There's talk of Junior Krupi going there as well. Like, so it remains to be seen whether he will want to stay or not. Like, some of the reports are saying he's not for sale. Romano saying it's very much up in the air that he could be for sale, especially if the player wants to push for a move and like look for guaranteed game time, which we could offer him, I think, because like we're not exactly stacked in terms of attacking talent, so we would certainly be higher in the pecking order at Liverpool than PSG, I'll put it that way, but one to keep an eye on. Florent Malouda has given him the stamp of approval. We should have that other thing on the channel. He's been given the Florent Malouda stamp of approval. That's a phrase I didn't think I'd be saying today. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Craig will be back with a video in the afternoon. If you have enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very soon.
What are you doing? You're in direct fire.
Aw, man.
Am I really that fat? Ouch! What are you doing? You're in direct violation of code 640.5, stating all Space Rangers are to be in hypersleep until awakened by authorized personnel. You're breaking ranks, Ranger. Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. I've got an AWOL Space Ranger. Tell me I wasn't this deluded. Go back, Doc. I have a laser, and I will use it. You mean the laser that's a light bulb? Has your mind been melded? You could have killed me, Space Ranger. Or should I say, traitor? I don't have time for this. Halt! I order you to halt! Listen to me,
We've been down this aisle already.
You've never been down this aisle. It's pink.
Face it, we're lost. What a great party! Hello, Ken Joe. Hello, Ken Joe.
Okay, now let's do this.
Drone has located a bomb. 10 seconds to insertion. 5 seconds to go. You found a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it.
Fair enough. Reese. Oh, shit.
Diffuser.
Fair enough. I just fell off the roof, can you come get me? There's no way I die like this. There's no way. Come get me! Come get me! Oh, you bastard. You shit cunt.
One friendly operator remaining. The diffuser has been recovered.
Well, I'm a shit cunt anyway for falling off, but... Oh my god.
Diffuser. We have been eliminated.
Well, let's try not fall off the fucking roof again.
Use your drone to locate a bomb.
Okay, now. Definitely basement now. Actually, no, there's two upstairs, so is it? I'm gonna keep my drone as well.
Drone has located a bomb. To go.
What up?
5 seconds before insertion. You found a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it.
Free bets.
Whoa. What is up, my friends? It is Thursday evening. My name is Craig, and you are very welcome along to today's Anfield Agenda News Roundup. We're going to be talking about Richard Hughes and the confirmation that he is to depart his role at Liverpool that came from David Ornstein. I'll be linking Liverpool yet again with Jules Koundé, as a report today broke to say it is something Liverpool are interested in, and a number has been mentioned. I'll be letting you know about a young Liverpool player who today confirmed his departure from the club, a former Premier League manager who wants to take our captain away from Anfield this summer, and we'll have a little bit on the coaches joining Andoni Iraola as well. Sound good? I hope so. I'll do my part. I'm going to ask you guys to do yours as well and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll be back here tonight at 9 PM for the Late Night Agenda 100. But until then, you know what's coming next. Let's get cracking with the news. So, this from David Ornstein earlier on today, and I know Connor covered this morning, but I just want to give you my take on it. So, David writes, breaking, Simon Francis has joined Al Hilal and is leading the club's transfer activity, with Liverpool sporting director Richard Hughes expected to follow his former colleague to the Saudi Pro League side. On top of that, he said Richard Hughes is fully focused on Liverpool's summer transfer business and supporting the club's new head coach Andoni Iraola throughout this current market. Hughes' contractual situation means this would naturally be his last summer transfer window with the club before a period of transition which would allow a successor to settle into his role. Now, that's absolute pony for a couple of reasons. One, this is not the last transfer window. I don't know how you write that with a straight face when we have January. Are we already admitting we're not doing it in January? So we can't ignore that. This is like the time they said to us.
Oh, you dirty bastard.
Transfer window to sort out the squad, ignoring.
Why are you out there, man? Fucking
we don't
hell.
have to buy this nonsense that gets written by the PR merchants that these guys are briefing. This is an absolute mess
Fucking
for
slow
Liverpool
bastards.
Football Club. And I was reading a post from David Lynch earlier on, which I completely agree with. David wrote something along the lines of, I know we're all supposed to pretend that sporting directors are a long-term project at clubs, but a lot of them now aren't lasting 2-3 years before they're gone. It is a pivotal role, and he acknowledges that, as do I. But he's not wrong. How many have we gone through at Liverpool in the last 10 years? I can think of 6 or 7 off the top of my head. And I know we're going to be told that somebody has been, groomed to take over from Richard Hughes since they were eating Weetabix as a baby, and before they were on to solid, sure, they were getting ready for the Liverpool sporting director's role. But it's not a good look. And again, if you're bringing in a coach, Andoni Iraola in this case, it isn't really full of confidence that the guy that brought you in is running off to Saudi. And again, I'm going to make the point. Why does he want to leave Liverpool Football Club? This should be the culmination of all of his hard work in his career to get to this point. It just doesn't feel good to me, ladies and gentlemen. And on top of that, we still have a transfer window, and Richard Hughes has made a mess of it. Now, before, you've seen the knock-on impact for not having a proper sporting director in place. Look at the contractual situation that allowed Trent to go for free, that allowed Canade to go for free. That was because Liverpool took their eye off the ball and allowed these contracts to run down. Meanwhile, George Smatka was running around Europe triggering release clauses. We need to get this sorted out. We are moving too slowly in a really important transfer window where Spurs are out there moving mad, signing everybody. And Liverpool have brought in a €40 million player, which is great, very good signing, but we still haven't got the right winger situation sorted out. And I'm starting to hear names like Yakuba Minta. Come on now, that's a joke. There's even people trying to make out like we should go on mad ones and sign lads that are nowhere near good enough to join Liverpool Football Club. This needs to be sorted out, and Richard Hughes, look, he should be just fired after this window, end of, because why does he want to leave Liverpool to go to Saudi? Is that really what you dreamt of, Richard, when you were a child, starting out in your little sporting director pajamas? I don't know, lads, it just feels weird to me. So let's move on now to a player who has completed his move away from Liverpool today, and that is Lucas Stevenson, who's joined Bolton Wanderers for £700,000 and Liverpool have also negotiated a 20% sell-on clause. I have to say, I always enjoyed watching Luca play when he was at Liverpool, and wishing him the very, very best at Bolton. Hopefully he does get a big move down the line somewhere and Liverpool can get a few quid off the sell-on clause. So, two of Liverpool's young centre-backs we know, Jeremy Jacquet, Giovanni Leone. But did you know that they were ranked number 1 and number 2 in August 2025 for aerial duels percentage 1 from top 20 centre-backs at the top 7 leagues, under 20 centre-backs in Europe, both of them number 1 and 2. Credit anything Liverpool for that post, but as you can see, the aerial prowess is going to continue. We've got Virgil van Dijk, we know how good he is aerially. By the way, more on Virgil in a minute. On top of that now we have young Giovanni Leone and Jeremy Jacquet, who will continue their aerial dominance. So, which former Premier League manager is it that wants to take our captain away? Well,
eBay online shopping and selling. Download now.
manager. It is Ruben Amorim, and he wants to take Virgil van Dijk this summer to AC Milan. The piece goes on to say that the Dutch defender is Amorim's preferred choice to strengthen the Rossinieri's defence, although his salary and Liverpool's reluctance to sell make the deal difficult. If a move for Van Dijk proves impossible, then they go on to talk about Gonzalo Inacio as somebody who we'd like to bring in. Let's just cut the crap. Go get Gonzalo Inacio, because you're not getting Virgil van Dijk this summer. And it isn't the first time, by the way, Virgil's been linked with a move away. Galatasaray, they've been there all summer interested in Virgil. I don't know what goes on with Virgil's future. All I know as a fan is he's got 1 year to go at Liverpool, and we quite simply can't lose him this summer. It would be absolute madness if we did, so surely there's nothing to this one from our side. Now, let's talk Jules Koundé for a second, because Caught Offside today have said Liverpool are keeping an eye on the situation of Barcelona defender Jules Koundé. They're open to signing him this summer. Barca are open to his exit, and he's on the market for £55 million. Now, for me, ladies and gentlemen, if this one is possible, go get it done. Because Jules Koundé can play right back, right centre back, and is more than qualified to come in and take a spot in Liverpool's defence. As well as that, he's got plenty of experience, international level, Champions League football, Barcelona. I would take Jules Koundé in a heartbeat. He might not be the very, very tippity top of all of our lists, but with what is available in the market this summer, with the situation with the injury that we've seen to Nico Schlotterbeck as well, I would take Jules Koundé in a heartbeat. £55 million, I would pay it, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. So, Florian Plettenberg has said, breaking, Julian Nagelsmann, and I love the way they worded this, Julian Nagelsmann has been advised by the German national team to step down. Just advised, we're going to fire your ass, so just quit. I'll say, yes, no problem, lads, I'll quit, but you're still paying me my full redundancy. And on top of that, he said, if he doesn't resign, the current plan is to dismiss him. He remains in charge for now. Final decision still pending. Nagelsmann had the opportunity today to explain the reasons behind Germany's World Cup failure. On top of that, they go on to say that Jurgen Klopp is currently weighing up whether he'll take the role or not. And I think Jurgen probably will take it. I don't have inside information on that, just looking from the outside. Feels like a natural fit for him, and one that I genuinely would love to see him do. I think it would be a culmination of all of his career to this point, go manage his national team and hopefully turn them back into a competitive side on the international stage, and I think Jurgen could do that. So, Greg Evans today reporting at The Athletic to say that a number of clubs in the Football League were looking at Tommy Elphick and Donny Ariola's assistant as a potential head coach this summer, but he has chosen to stick alongside Donny Ariola, and and is expected to become a manager in his own right in the future. It is really good news to see that the 4 staff members that Iraola wanted to bring in have now all been confirmed as being Liverpool coaches, so he's got his full complement there. Obviously Richie Robot is heading off to Saudi Arabia for, you know, the dream move. He's gone full Robbie Keane here. He'll be over there holding up the El Halal shirt saying, I've been dreaming about this since I was a little boy, my little Hugh Hefner era sporting director pyjamas, eating my little Weetabix bowl. I don't know, lads. I just want some good news. Is it too much to ask for some good news? I'd like some good news. Can we go sign somebody, please? Let me know who you think we should sign at right wing. I'm fully in on the Rayan shouts, but I don't know how realistic it is. Obviously, last night we spoke as well about Liverpool holding an interest in Kevin of Fulham. We'll see what happens there. I know he operates more off the left-hand side, but needs must and all of that. So what should we do? Well, we need to move in the midfield area as well. I don't buy this. We have to free up a space before we can do anything. I think we should be doing it the other way. Bring in somebody and then see who wants to leave.
What?
Curtis Jones, well, the latest news on him is that he doesn't really fancy the move to Nottingham Forest according to various
No,
reports.
he shot the wall,
Inter
man.
Milan are, well,
Fuck
a bit
off.
cheap. They don't want to pony up the dough for Curtis. They love him. They think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, actually, since Shabada, but no. They don't want to pay 25-30 million pounds, so make of that what you will. Apart from that, we are, ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm starting to get a little bit antsy. Now, I don't expect superstars, like I said yesterday. I'm quite happy for Liverpool to bring in young, hungry players. The only thing I'm not willing to do this summer is watch Liverpool not fill out the squad places that we need to. I don't want to be sitting here mid-July talking about pre-season being a couple of days away and Liverpool still having done nothing. Time to get the finger out. These lads have had long enough to plan for this. Maybe if they spent less time trying to figure out where Saudi Arabia is on a map and actually did their job, we'd be a little bit better in this situation. So that is it from me for now. Over to you guys to let me know your thoughts. And by the way, what way do you eat your Weetabix? Do you put cold milk in or do you have it with warm milk? I need to know. And if you have it with warm milk, do you put the warm milk in before it goes into the microwave, or are you a poshie who boils it in a pot and then puts it over it? I need to know that. It tells me a little bit more about you. I love you guys. I'll see you later. 9 p.m. Much love.
Obviously a really difficult start for him at Bournemouth. I didn't know a lot about him, but they turned it around. Wow, that's real coaching.
Yeah, we could not match up his intensity, and when you win this type of balls to Semenyo or central defenders, strikers, after you had to defend deeper, but especially for that, the rhythm that they put in the game, for many reasons, they were higher than us, and we could not handle it.
We were very far from the level that we shown, that's for certain, especially in certain areas that are critical. And when you play against a team like Bournemouth, then they were very clear.
In June 2023, Bournemouth had just survived in the Premier League. Gary O'Neill had taken over during a difficult moment after the humiliating 9-0 defeat to Liverpool, and somehow managed to keep the club alive. For a team like Bournemouth, survival was supposed to be enough. So when the club suddenly sacked him and replaced him with Andoni Iraola, the reaction was not excitement, it was confusion. Because from the outside, Bournemouth had not hired a famous name. They had hired a coach from Rayo Vallecano, and yes, people inside football knew there was something interesting about him. Iraola had done impressive things in Spain. He had taken Mirandés deep into the Copa del Rey. He had won promotion with Rayo Vallecano. He had made a small club brave enough to hurt giants. His team had beaten Real Madrid. They had frustrated Barcelona. They played with courage, aggression and belief. But in England, that did not make him feared. Not yet. To most Premier League fans, he was simply the man Bournemouth had chosen after removing the coach who had just saved them. And that made everything feel risky. Because Bournemouth could not afford to waste time. One bad appointment could send them straight back into danger. And at first, that is exactly what it looked like. The football was not flowing. The results were not coming. The table was beginning to look dangerous. Week after week, Bournemouth kept searching for their first Premier League win under Iraola. And week after week, it refused to arrive. 9 league games passed. No wins. Only 3 points. And with every bad result, the same question became louder. Had Bournemouth made a mistake? Because this was the problem with Iraola's football. It was not simple. It demanded timing, courage, movement, pressing, and total belief from players who had spent years thinking like a survival team. They had to learn when to jump, when to press, when to rest, when to attack space, and when to turn a defensive moment into a chance within seconds. And in the beginning, it looked messy. Not because there was no idea, but because the idea was difficult. That is what many people missed. From the outside, people saw a team without wins, a coach under pressure, and a club that had taken a gamble and was beginning to look exposed. But inside the chaos, Iraola was trying to change the way Bournemouth saw themselves. He did not want them to behave like a small team waiting to survive. He wanted them to play like a team that could hurt anyone. Still, belief is easy when results are good, and Bournemouth had no results. By the time they faced Burnley in October, the pressure was already heavy. This was not just another match. It felt like the kind of game that could define the entire start of Iraola's time in England. And even then, Bournemouth fell behind. For a moment, it looked like the same story again. But this time, something finally broke. Antoine Semenyo equalised, and Bournemouth kept pushing. Then Philip Billing produced the moment Iraola had been waiting for, a stunning long-range finish that gave Bournemouth their first Premier League win under him. It was only one victory, but it mattered. Because after weeks of pressure, Iraola finally had proof that his team was beginning to understand. But even then, nobody looked at that Burnley win and saw the beginning of a Premier League problem. They saw relief and a small club buying itself time. And that was the mistake, because Iraola was not just trying to survive the pressure, he was building something.
Have you been feeling lonely lately? Scrolling but nothing really hits? Wish someone would just talk to you. On Vigo Live, it's different. There are girls live right now, near you, and you can chat by voice or just hop on video. No awkward starts. If you're shy, they'll talk to you first. All it takes is one tap. Download Vigo Live and try it.
Because Iraola was not just trying to survive the pressure, he was building something underneath it. The early chaos was not the end of the story, it was the foundation. And once Bournemouth truly understood what he wanted, they stopped looking like a team trying to escape danger. They became something much worse. Bournemouth became a trap. Iraola did not want his team to sit deep, wait for mistakes, and hope bigger clubs would waste chances. He wanted Bournemouth to attack games with the kind of energy that made opponents uncomfortable before they could even settle. The shape looked simple from the outside. Most of the time, Bournemouth started in a 4-2-3-1, but once the game opened, that shape became much more aggressive. The forwards pressed high, the midfielders jumped onto opponents, the fullbacks pushed forward, and the centre-backs squeezed the pitch until the other team felt like there was no clean way out. That was the trap. Bournemouth would make opponents think there was space, then close it before they could use it. They would guide the ball wide, surround the player, force a rushed pass, and suddenly the game would turn. One bad touch became pressure. One loose ball became a chance. One mistake became Bournemouth running straight at goal, and that is what made them so horrible to play against. They did not need to dominate possession to control the feeling of a match. They controlled the danger, and the physical numbers told the same story. Bournemouth became one of the hardest running teams in the league. At one point, no Premier League side was covering more distance per match. They were near the top for sprints, high turnovers, direct attacks, and pressure actions, which meant their football was not built on one clever tactical trick. It was built on intensity that had to be repeated again and again until the opponent broke. That is why games against them started to feel different. And the first huge warning came at Old Trafford. Manchester United was supposed to control that kind of match. They were at home, inside one of the biggest stadiums in the world, against a Bournemouth side that had spent the early part of the season looking vulnerable. But Iraola's team did not play like guests. They made United look fragile in their own stadium. Dominic Solanke scored first, then Philip Billing added another, and Marcos Senesi finished the job as Bournemouth won 3-0. It was Bournemouth's first ever win at Old Trafford, but the score was not even the scariest part. The scary part was how comfortable Bournemouth looked, making United uncomfortable. They were not lucky. They had 2 more goals ruled out, and the match felt like a warning that something at Bournemouth was becoming real. Still, some people treated it like one strange result, so Bournemouth kept doing it. The next season, Arsenal came to the Vitality Stadium unbeaten in the league. But against Iraola's Bournemouth, even Arsenal were dragged into chaos. Bournemouth pressed them, disturbed their rhythm, attacked the spaces behind them, and forced the kind of moments Arsenal usually avoided. William Saliba was sent off after Evanilson threatened to run in behind, and once the game tilted, Bournemouth did not let it escape. Ryan Christie scored, Justin Kluivert added the penalty, and Arsenal left with their first Premier League defeat of the season. Again, Bournemouth had not just beaten a big team, they had made a big team uncomfortable enough to lose control of the match. Then came Manchester City. For years, City had treated Bournemouth like a guaranteed problem they could solve. Before Iraola, Bournemouth had never beaten them in the league. But this time, Bournemouth pulled them into a different kind of game. Antoine Semenyo scored early, and Bournemouth kept attacking the spaces City left behind. They ran with more aggression, competed with more hunger, and refused to let the champions settle into their usual rhythm. Evanilson made it 2-0 in the second half, and even when City pulled one back late, the match had already said what it needed to say. Bournemouth had beaten Manchester City 2-1, ending their 32-game unbeaten run in the Premier League. And after the game, even Pep Guardiola admitted the problem. City could not match Bournemouth's intensity. That sentence mattered, because this was Manchester City, a team built to control matches better than anyone, and yet they had been forced into Bournemouth's world. Iraola's team had taken the game away from tactics on a whiteboard and turned it into a physical, emotional, high-speed fight. And City could not live with it. That is when the meaning of Bournemouth started to change. They were no longer just a small club having good days against bigger teams. They were becoming a weekly danger, the kind of opponent that made managers nervous because the match never felt completely safe. Even when teams were winning, Bournemouth could still hurt them. Luton found that out when they went 3-0 up at half-time, only for Bournemouth to come back and win 4-3. Everton found it out too when they led 2-0 late in the game, then watched Bournemouth score 3 times near the end and steal a 3-2 win. That was another part of the trap. You could not relax against them. Not when they were level, not when they were losing, and not even when the match looked finished. Because Iraola had built a team that believed chaos belonged to them. Because Iraola had built a team that believed chaos belonged to them. If an opponent hesitated, they smelled danger, and once they recovered the ball, they did not waste time trying to make the attack look beautiful. They went forward immediately. That directness became one of their biggest weapons. Since Iraola arrived in England, only Liverpool produced more fast break shots than Bournemouth, which says everything about the kind of football he had created. But the most important part was that this was not which says everything about the kind of football he had created.
We're gonna end this stream now in a bit.